Welcome back, my friends. If you are new to this channel, take the time to watch previous videos to get a feel for my content. Smash that like button and subscribe if you've become invested. Now let's get back to it. Madison's bedroom was a suite in itself. She led him further in. A king-size bed dominated the room. The walls were a matted wine color with white borders. She had a big, fluffy white chaise across the room by the windows. She had decorative portraits of seaside scenes. But what caught Beau's attention was a large frame picture of Madison that perched on the wall above her bed. Madison was sitting across an armchair with her legs propped up on the arm. She was looking behind her with her hair covering half her face. Beau smiled. "This is the real you," he stated. "What makes you say that?" she asked as she tried to see what he was seeing. "This is where you come to let your hair down, your passion. It's all here." Madison turned to him with a smile. She began to undress and Beau couldn't believe his eyes when she stood completely nude in front of him. "I'm going to wash the evening off. Come join me." Wordlessly, Beau nodded. He quickly shed his clothes and followed her into the adjoining bath. They showered quickly only because Madison wouldn't allow anything but washing. Beau stepped out first to grab a big thirsty towel. He wrapped it around them and propelled her into the bedroom. He took control of the drying, and once he had deemed them dry enough, he reached to pull the shower cap off her head. His eyes surveyed her, and he frowned as he began to pull out the pins holding her hair up. "I can't tell you how offensive those pins are. You're more appealing with your hair loose," he said. "I must tell you that no man has ever been in this room, and I had to convince my left brain what my right brain wanted to do," she said. "So are you all in agreement?" he asked. Her answer was to pull his head down to hers. At the end of the kiss, Beau scooped her up in his arms, like she weighed nothing, and placed her gently on the bed. He stood there on the edge staring at her. The way his eyes glided over her figure made Madison's skin tingle. She crooked her finger at him, and he rushed to join her. Between kisses, Madison confirmed that they had all night, that Brittany was spending the night with her sister. Beau slowed down as he explored her body. He smiled down at her because she gave as she got. When need outweighed discovery, Beau joined their bodies. At the slight resistance, Beau pulled away alarmed. "Did I hurt you?" "No, you didn't hurt me," Madison replied, feeling mortified. Her body was on fire, and if he stopped now, she thought she'd die. "Woman, when was the last time for you?" "Does it matter?" she asked. Beau pulled completely away to sit up against the headboard. She joined him, feeling humiliated and small. "It matters, Madison. I don't want to hurt you. Tell me." "Not since Donald, my husband," she murmured. As if he understood, Beau clasped her hand. He didn't know what to say, but he squeezed her hand. "Do you still want to make love with me?" he asked her. She understood he was giving her a choice. "Yes," she said simply. "Then take what you want," Beau replied. He lay back down and pulled her atop him. Madison straddled him timidly. She was afraid to look him in the eye, but when he reached out to touch her, the fire that had been simmering flared up again, and coherent thought took a back seat as her need took over. She took what she wanted, and he gave it to her as she demanded. Together, they strove to give and take until something exploded inside Madison. Beau watched as her release took over. Afterwards, her face flushed and her eyes glowed. "I could get used to this," Beau said matter-of-factly. He held her for a long time, giving her time to gather her thoughts. Finally, Beau moved to sit up against the headboard and she joined him, pulling the sheets to cover her chest. Madison pushed hair away from her face and looked at him. "Tonight was a fluke, Beau. I'm not prepared to continue this." This wasn't what he was expecting her to say. "How about this? Let's date for a month and then reassess." "My daughter lives here, Beau. This can't happen," she explained. Beau took her hand and locked their fingers. "It's been about 2 years since my last relationship. I thought she was what I was looking for. She was smart, supportive, and didn't seem to be interested in the family business. I broke it off with her when I found out that she was using me to get recipes. She was a plant, and I fell for her." "Did she get anything?" "I tested her by leaving the book of family recipes out in the open, and I caught her taking pictures." Madison squeezed their joined hands. "I'm sorry." "You know, one thing you're right about, I fell for a pretty face." "What makes you think I'm different?" "She never wanted me. I know that now after being with you. You want me, you have your own business, and you can cook." "This is lust, Beau. It's a powerful thing and hard to resist. Bo chuckled. I think we're past the lust stage. Really? So what do you think is going on here? Asked Madison, pointing to them in the bed. Lust was when we first met. Need is where we are now. Every time we see each other, it builds up. You need me, and I need you. Madison frowned. This wasn't what she was hoping for. She'd argued with herself about what to do. She figured that she would give in, get it out of her system, and move on. Bo's nonsense about need wasn't true. It was true she wanted him, but she didn't need him. You've got a lot to think about, babe, Bo said as he swung his legs off the bed. I'll see you tomorrow at church. Give me your answer then. Stay with me. Brittany is at Amber's for the night, she pleaded. Bo kissed her passionately and stood up. He turned to stare at her. He wanted nothing more than to spend the entire night loving her. I can't promise you that we'll be sleeping the rest of the night. You need to think about what you want, and if you want me, I'll see you tomorrow. She didn't stop him, and when he was fully dressed, she threw on a robe and followed him downstairs. At the door, he kissed her clear down to her toes, stoking the fire he'd just put out. Services were a blur for Madison. After Bo left the previous night, she did as he asked. She thought about it. What did she want? Did she want a fling to plug up the emptiness in her life? Or did she want something more? More importantly, what did Bo want from her? Was she a fling or something more permanent? He was giving her time to make up her mind, but she didn't know if she had an answer for him. She imagined a relationship with Bo, and blinding fear nearly crippled her. Her brain wouldn't let her get past a certain point. It wasn't that she didn't want him. She could very easily fall for him. She had an old secret she'd fought for nearly 2 decades to keep at bay. The box she kept it in was fragile, and it could break free if she wasn't careful. For their date, she wore a little black dress that every woman in the world had in their closet. Hers was conservative by today's standards, but qualified. She wore her hair loose only to please Bo. It was much too hot, but she'd give him that much. The smile on his face when he came for her told her that she had chosen well. They drove into the city, and he surprised her by taking her to Beauregard's. It was even nicer at night. The atmosphere was relaxed, and the restaurant was closing for the evening. A waiter came for their order, and Madison watched as the last of the patrons left. As they ate, she also noticed that an older gentleman, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Maurice, come out to sit at a table near the kitchen. One by one, members of the Jackson family came out to the dining room. They were trying to be discreet, but the dimples gave them away. You know, if you wanted to introduce me to your family, you could have just said so, Madison said as she looked around her. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. These folks are just plain nosy, Bo said loud enough for them to hear. His brother approached them first. He introduced himself as Grayson. He was Morris's father. Next came Morris's sister, Susanna. Bo's sister, Cynthia, and 3 more waitstaff came to introduce themselves as cousins. This is why I don't bring any guests here. Y'all smothering me, complained Bo. Madison stood up to survey the restaurant. There was a couple who hadn't introduced themselves. Clearly, they were the elder Jacksons. She walked over to them and smiled brightly. You must be Bo's parents. I'm Madison Blake. Bo walked over too. Madison watched as he leaned down to place a reverent kiss on his mother's cheek. Hello, Mom, Dad. Will you sit with us? His mother asked. Madison sat next to his mother, while Bo sat beside his father. I want to apologize for intruding on your evening, dear. Our son has been avoiding us for some time. We're returning home in a few days, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to see him, Mr. Jackson said. Well, I'm glad you didn't miss him. I understand all too well the importance of family, Madison replied. What a delight you are, said Mrs. Jackson. Thank you. When Madison answered the 4th question posed to her by his family, he stood up and apologized to his parents. He announced that they were leaving. Madison closed her eyes for the ride, and she slept so soundly, Bo had to shake her awake. You're home, he said quietly. Wow, I didn't realize how tired I was. Thanks for dinner. Bo waited to see her enter the house before he drove off. Regina didn't even knock when she entered her office the following morning. Have you seen the paper? She asked. Madison smiled at her longtime friend and partner. She was upset with her, but smiled at her anyway. Why didn't you answer your phone? When did you call me? Regina asked, not looking at her. After the gala. You know, Bo, I mean Mr. Jackson was only using me to get away from Cheryl. We stopped at the corner so we could switch cars. You didn't answer, so he had to drive me home. You're welcome. I asked you if you saw the paper. That girl is going to get hers one of these days. Madison frowned. What are you talking about? Regina dropped the paper on her desk and pointed to an article. Madison's eyes scanned the page. A picture of her getting into Beau's car caught her attention. The caption under it had her coughing. Cheryl was in the background looking upset. She called me a hag? That and a few other interesting things. I had to step in to keep the rest of it from being printed. You know, sometimes it pays to make friends with the press. Anyway, did you and your beau do the tango that night? Madison glared at her friend. Thanks for stepping in for me. Don't you worry about her. I spoke with her mother this morning. What most folks don't know is that her mother holds the reins and she's going to pull in tightly. Regina made a gesture of pulled on ropes. Should I feel any pity for her? Madison stood up, clearly upset again. Brittany and Amber rushed into the office and stopped short, spying the paper on their mother's desk. You're too late. She's already seen it, she told the girls. Mom, don't pay any attention to the paper, Brittany said. Madison glared at the trio watching her. Last year she called me a cougar, and this year a hag. I don't know if I've been promoted or demoted. Regina took the girls' hands and pulled them to the door. Why don't you girls show me the break room? I haven't seen it since the renovation. Across town in a small office, Beau sat at his desk with a cup of coffee. His lead tech came into the office holding a newspaper in his hand. Boss, I think you should see this, he said, handing Beau the paper. Beau took it and quickly scanned the page and picture. He reached over to his phone to dial. What are you going to do? Asked his technician. Damage control. Well, that's it for now. If you're enjoying this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd like to grow this channel quickly. Comment if you know what's going to happen next. I welcome your thoughts.